What's up, y'all? Back with another interview. This time we're interviewing Sanix. It's Sanix, right?
Santi, but Santi. My name is Santiago, so nickname is Santi.
Oh, Santi, my bad. All right, we're
Uh-huh.
interviewing Santi over here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for reaching out to me with the Bloody Hell Commission and to do this interview. I'm hyped.
Yeah, so guys, what you're seeing is Santi drawing the fan art over here of Jacob and Lisa, looking real clean. I had to get a commission out of him because I really like his art style. After this video, you're gonna see pages from his product. We can call it a MANAA now, right? Because I want to put
Sure,
you in.
absolutely.
Yeah, so you gonna see
Oh,
pages up in his mana, and you gonna see why it just attracted me so much to want to see Bloody Hell in his art style. So let's get right into it, man. How long
cool.
have you been drawing?
Man, I think I've been drawing since forever. The other day I found some drawings in my grandma's house of when I was
Hmm.
like 2 years old. Little scratches.
Oh, I should
These are
ask,
scratches.
how long have you been drawing seriously?
Seriously, I'd say I started when I was like 25. I'm 31 now.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow, that only a
uh-huh.
6 year gap? Wow. Okay. So what made you decide to take it seriously so late in the game at age 25?
Uh, I think I tried several jobs. I even tried tattooing,
Mm-hmm.
and it just wasn't resonating for me, that these kind of things. And I just went back to what I loved since I was young, was manga and reading manga and coming up with stories and characters. So yeah, at
Okay.
25, I decided I needed to get serious and study and learn how to write and draw, perspective, composition, all those things.
Now that's interesting because I usually tell young bucks that y'all got to get your priorities in order before age 24. On how if you don't get your priorities sorted before age 24, when you are age 24, close to the end of it, you begin, as I said in my other video, that the countdown begins in your mind, where now the self-awareness of getting old and behind as a man, unable to secure assets, starts to trample all of your psychology and starts to weigh you down, and that can result in people, not people, result in the artist himself starting to get depressed and possibly wanting to quit. Right. So at that later stage in age 24, the self-doubt begins, and next thing you know, you might want to quit. You'll feel a bit paralyzed in terms of what is your place in the world if you could not succeed in your artistic goals in time and so on. So in your case, it's different because you started after age 24. However, what is similar is that your inner man was not satisfied by doing other types of jobs. Explain to us, what did that what did that thirst feel like when you were trying to feed your inner man with other things, but he was just not having it? He demanded that you go back to manga. What did it feel like?
Shit, man. At 25, I got downright depressed.
Hmm.
I I remember going through all those feelings of self doubt and like, did I waste my time pursuing these things that were not for me? But deep down, I knew I had a voice that wanted to be heard, and I had stories within me that I wanted to express, and there was no other option. It's like, this is what's gonna make me happy. Ultimately, is making these stories, and everything else is just a cop out.
Exactly. It's just a means of really pacifying yourself while being paid to consume other things, but living disingenuously, uh, to your inner man, ultimately creating that dissatisfaction and depression. You know,
Totally.
a lot of dudes just ain't got the self-awareness of this type of problem, where they out here trying to impress the hunchbacks who are not impressed by authenticity. They're impressed by how much you can dish out, quantity over quality, and does it satisfy their zombie desires, the three primal instincts type thing. And dudes, forget that there's an inner man that needs to be fed and needs to express himself, but he also needs to know himself before he can express himself properly. Because I see people like Didi Mark. I know I haven't spoken about him in a while, but he's the best example of a zombie creator who has the energy to have all kinds of quantity, right? Artistically, he's very good, but narratively, it's just a disaster. And this comes from the fact that I say he doesn't know himself. He has not had enough life experience where he can extrapolate from those experiences so he can tell relatable stories. It's just insane ideas always being thrown at the wall, and it's always a miss, because it's like, bro, you do have an inner man, you just don't know him. You don't know him because you didn't really challenge yourself in life so that the inner man can come out and be the one that saves you, that I am here now, I'll help you carry the weight. A lot of people just want to run away from those challenges, and you can't really mature. And then you're going to have that dependency on big ideas that we all know, and then you try to rip off things here and there, and it just doesn't work, right? So in your case, what challenge did you overcome that actually unlocked your inner man, and you felt like now you know who you are?
That's a good question. What challenge? I think I had to overcome my own victimhood.
Oh, okay.
And my own self-doubt.
Victimhood
I
how?
think victimhood in the sense that I saw myself as a victim in the world, and the cultural institutions that I grew up with failed me, and they didn't really help me to discern who I was as an individual and how I'm to govern my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that challenge that led me to really do some soul searching and find out who I am, and
Oh, that's
how what is within me that is worth serving. And in that process, I definitely found that what's worth serving is creating stories and making art that is uplifting and inspiring. Yeah.
that's really cool. Now, who who convinced you that these so-called institutions, cultural institutions, were there for your benefit? Do you remember any psyop propaganda that you consumed at high school that placed you in a
Totally.
box of like, hey, you're a minority, and as a minority, you can barely do enough because somebody at the top put the squeeze on your ancestors. Who put you in that box? Tell us when it began and when you started seeing the contradictions of like, I think this in itself is racism, putting me, an individual, in a collective box, telling me I'm incapable because of what other people did millions of years ago or so on. Isn't that in itself a locking away of my potential? When did it start?
Totally. It's funny. In the video you put out recently, you spoke of that hope in your 20s that you get that magical phone call that would
Yeah.
lead to something bigger. And I definitely shared this false sense of hope. And it came from the messaging that was put out by movies and music and popular social media, this false expectation of reality and success. And then those delusions eventually collapse, and you realize that an art career is tough, and you're gonna have to define what success means to you individually.
And that it's going to be required of you within the circumstance.
Right. You have to embrace your circumstances, as you say.
Exactly. So, do you remember, like you grew up in America, right?
Yeah, I grew up in America, but I was born in Colombia, and now I'm back in Colombia.
Oh, you're back in Colombia now.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I think it's good that we unpack this cultural differences because it's vital to how you even tell your stories. You know, people
Yeah.
want to look at storytelling in one particular way. There are techniques, objective techniques like the Japanese method and the hero's journey method, and I looked at those too. But
Uh-huh.
in the ideas that you want to express using the tool set of the hero's journey, there isn't a general awareness of that. So since you grew up in the States and the propaganda, Hollywood propaganda, they said, hey, the phone call is coming, just be a nice person, be a good person, and magically it's going to happen. That you are a minority and, it's not your fault that you can't go as far as the others and so on, versus coming back home. And when you came back home, was there like a cultural difference or shock as to like the people here live their lives based on the reality they see with their eyes away from the TV, versus in America they live in a reality that they see on screen. Did,
Yeah.
yeah, did you experience that? Explain to us when you notice the differences.
I definitely noticed that.
Mm.
Yeah, in America, we're definitely more influenced by media and movies and all these things. And in Colombia, there's more poverty and there's more people are more grounded in their reality here and not being conditioned by all
Hmm.
these Hollywood propagandas. So
And
yeah, people are a bit more authentic here. I've noticed on the street, for instance, where I'm just walking and talking to random people.
right, because would you say they accept their circumstance, or is there a
Right.
general feeling in the
Correct.
air of dissatisfaction with their circumstance?
Yeah, I think people accept their circumstances more in in this place, in this country.
Mm.
And in the most poverty-stricken neighborhoods, people are generally happy, I've seen.
Hmm.
And that's kind of shocking.
It is shocking because we were told that if you get 6 cars, 6 mansions, and 6 hoes, then you won't be happy. Um,
Right.
but it's not really like that. See, here where I live, I'd like to say people are more happy in the poverty that they're in, but South Africa has been heavy duty demoralized and Americanized, where the people live through the screens as well. You know, they
That's interesting.
there's always a feeling of dissatisfaction in the air, a profound one. People trying to
Uh-huh.
be what they're not, what they can't be, uh, a lack of acceptance of what they are. And when they try to express themselves as an individual, they are actually copying somebody they saw on TV. They never unlock their inner man in a third world country like here. Um, I want to say all of Africa, but let me not say all of it. So then comes the problem of if there's a person here who tries to tell a story, they too don't really know themselves. They just attach to a figure that they saw online. There aren't any real world figures around their communities that they look up to. My role model growing up was Goku. Around my neighborhood, it was just hell on earth. There was nobody to look up to, you know.
Right.
And I tried to emulate, what Goku stood for and stuff like that. And he's just a cartoon character, but other people, other black people here who didn't watch anime or whatnot, they'll try to emulate what soccer stars or celebrities would behave and do and so on. And this doesn't unlock their inner man, because what if you can't play soccer? You just suck. What if you're not an actor? You know, how do you put yourself in a position where it forces the inner man to be set free? But as artists, whether I follow Goku or Naruto, trying to emulate that and having a genuine desire to draw stories myself, I'm put in the fray. I get challenged as like, man, this is hard to draw. Wait, my story doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait, I think I'm ripping things off, you know? And I mean, these things are just so important that artists have the awareness. Otherwise, they just can't unlock the inner man. And you're not going to find anywhere in an art school that teaches these things either, right? Would you say you've encountered any school that brings up these things?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
I've been to a
But
lot of art schools, so they didn't say it. Hmm.
I think it's profound that that Goku became this sort of archetypal figure for you
Hmm.
when you were growing up. That for me was definitely Naruto
Right.
as well.
Right.
And
Hmm.
yeah, these figures became such a huge inspiration, as opposed to the soccer stars or the rap stars that were being put
Exactly.
out there.
The world was not feeding the new generation at the time, which was the millennials. It was only
Uh-huh.
throwing soccer stars and movie stars as representatives of success, progress, and artistic endeavors, right? But there were some of us, like me and you, who didn't care about Brad Pitt. We didn't care about what's his name, Jordan, Michael Jordan. We didn't care. We had no real role model to look up to because our inner man was not inspired by dudes playing ball or actors doing whatever they're doing. And
Right.
if it wasn't for anime, because American cartoons like Cow and Chicken, Ed, and Eddie, those were just goofball, time wasting type shows, bro. Like straight up
Right.
Homer Simpson garbage, empty calories. That's what old school Cartoon Network was. It was fun, it was great, I appreciate it, but it was empty calories. And anime at the time gave us, people like me and you, something to commit to. Because Ed and Eddie, it did not give you anything to commit to. You know, it was all
Right.
about trying to make money, make money. To do what with the money? Buy jawbreakers? You know, that was just so lame, you know.
Yeah,
So,
Naruto explored much deeper themes and values that you could
mm,
kind of mold yourself around, like working hard to accomplish something and working as a team.
exactly,
Yeah, aspiring to be your best self and serve the people around you, serve the people of Konoha.
exactly. And Ed and Eddie noticed that it was appealing to your selfish nature, you know, were maximized in the capitalist system. Now, I ain't hating on capitalism, but as it is now, it's falling apart, right? So I think this again, this level of awareness is needed because people are just telling stories blindly out here. It's like, bro, you kind of need a message and it needs to be relatable. It can't just satisfy those little three primal instincts in you because it means it's disposable, relatable. Like, who has a DVD box set of Ed, Ed, and Eddie versus a box set of Naruto anime or Naruto manga books, right?
Right.
Exactly. That's what we're trying
That's
to do.
hilarious.
So let's get into your mana real quick. So what is your
Okay,
mana about? What inspired it, and when did you start cooking it up? And why is it called soup?
cool. All right. Well, in essence, soup is about these twin warriors who go on a quest to discover their hidden and divine origins. In the midst of their searching, uh, there's a great impending cataclysm on the rise, and these two warriors could be the key to aiding humanity and helping them overcome this disaster.
And why is it called soup?
Soup is like a type of portal technology that exists in this world. Mm-hmm. And I think it also came from the influence of Akira Toriyama, where he would just use food names.
Oh, for real?
I think that influenced me unconsciously.
Huh.
But yeah, the soup is a big type of technology in this realm.
I mean, I saw in chapter 2, I think, where the priest was stirring up the pot with his giant spoon. I'm like, so this is the soup. And then it's a portal. Okay. And I like how you drew the lines in the soup and so on, to give it that texture, to give it that thickness. It made me crave soup. You know, I haven't had soup and gravy in a while. So I was like, okay. But then again, why not call it something else? I mean, I get it. Toriyama inspired you with the food naming thing, but it's just so weird. I thought in a different language, soup means something else.
Huh. I think also the soup, it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of different flavors, different things. So I think for me, the soup is also like this way to infuse all the things that I've studied about mythology and my influences, and just mix it all into a pot, basically.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. So what did inspire it?
I think it's primarily inspired by mythology. I love studying mythology.
Of what culture? Everything?
Everything, yeah. Everything is fascinating to me. I think mythology is important because it tackles big questions and mysteries. Mm-hmm. I think the myth reveals more truths about us and what we're about than the history books.
Right.
So I want to infuse those mythological themes into my fantasy world and see how that influences the characters.
That's interesting. In fact, I've been studying Greek mythology a bit deeper. And I remember the story of Prometheus and his brother.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and his name means forethought, and his brother is Epithemius, I think. Yeah, which means afterthought. And how Zeus gifted Prometheus Pandora after Hercules set him free. And he said, nah, Zeus don't like me. That's forethought at play right there. But the brother, afterthought, took Pandora in, and she opened the box, and all hell broke loose, you know. And I could see that, there truly is, the Greeks were very smart. How they use their mythos, it really does help you understand the world a bit better, you know. They didn't have science like that, so they would use all these different gods who would mean certain things, you know, what it means to do that, what it means to do this, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, this is actually really smart. So, and because mythology, according to this other book I read, it said it was the best way to continue history down the ages so people can remember them, right? Creating these sensational characters and whatever, like the founder of London, or the founder of England, was King Brutus, who sailed from I forgot where, and the goddess Diana told him that sail west and you will find the land there and defeat the giants there, and blah blah blah, and how Stonehenge, blah blah blah, you know. So it makes sense. It totally makes sense. So give us a percentage of soup in terms of how much does it borrow from this mythology from that mythology? What percentage of it is Aztec, Greek, Roman, and so on?
That's a good question. I definitely borrow from mythologies all over the place. But I'd say mostly from Mesopotamian and Aztec mythologies.
Oh, okay. And what do you like the most about the Mesopotamian ones?
I like this, the mythology of this dual god. And I've expressed that a little bit with the characters in my comic.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, okay.
This duality, yeah. Duality is like a theme I want to explore in Soup. War and peace, male, female, light, dark, wrath, mercy. Like, my question is, in a world of duality, how can one live in balance between these polar extremes?
Nice. Now that sounds like it was extrapolated from the video I made about duality, and how in Bleach, it's actually a story of duality, how Ichigo is the one who fights to remain in the center. The Soul Society went to the extreme by trying to kill Rukia. The Quincy's tried to go to the extreme by trying to blow up the whole universe and reset it as one. And Ichigo fights to keep things in the center, that both sides have their place, but we can never lean to the extreme of either one, otherwise chaos,
Right.
Yeah, so wow.
Oh, that's profound.
I know, right? We all miss these things in Bleach. People are, oh, story sucks, it's just cool. It's like, nah, bro, we were just too brain dead at the time. And any adult right now who still doesn't get it, well, he's still brain dead, So as we grow up, we got to be able to see these things, question the world more, and so on. And Kubo is truly a genius after all. He knew what he was doing. So, okay, I think that God that you're talking about is the one that comes out in chapter 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Arda.
okay. Arda. So that is a Mesopotamian god.
Influence, definitely.
Is the name, what's the name
Ishtar.
from?
Ishtar Inanna is the name of the Mesopotamian god.
Was Ishtar a duality god?
Ishtar Inanna, yeah.
Oh, so there's the normal Ishtar and then this Ishtar.
I think so. I think if you look it up on Wikipedia, you would find it as Inanna. But,
all right.
But there's a changing of the names. I see. The names go back and forth.
I think Shiva as well in the Hindu.
Shiva as well, right?
Yeah, because I remember from the movie Monkey Man how, I mean.
Yeah, I saw that recently. Right.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Those freaks. But hey, in the context they look cool.
Yeah, it's a hermaphroditic kind of a god.
I had no idea, until I saw it there. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. The duality there and how it took me back to season 4 of Castlevania, where Death wanted to summon Dracula and his wife in one body that is both male and female. Hey guys, if you want to see the full video and its context, consider joining my Patreon. That's where the real caffeine is at. Cheers.